My wife cheated on me with her secretary, and I caught it all. What you're about to read cost me everything except my spine. My wife, Madison, Maddie, to everyone at the office, runs a boutique marketing agency like a general with perfect nails. Last fall she hired a new executive assistant, Jace. 26, model jawline, soft voice, the kind of guy who looks like he was born knowing how to pose for a watch ad. Maddie is 41. I'm Ethan, 38. We've been married 7 years, no kids by choice, good condo, 2 cats, Spotify fights, and a Sunday bagel ritual. Picture perfect if you squint. The day she hired him, Maddie texted me a selfie from the boardroom. Messy bun, blazer, that grin she saves for wins. Jace was blurred in the background, carrying her laptop like a groom lifting a bride. Total lifesaver, she wrote. Finally someone who can keep up. I laughed it off. She's the boss. Assistants assist. Then the travel started. Client in Austin needs hand-holding, she said. We'll share a room to save the budget. 2 beds, promise? She said it breezy like we were roommates splitting a motel on a road trip. First time I pushed back, she rolled her eyes. Ethan, I signed the checks. It's optics, not romance. Red flags came dressed as spreadsheets. Hotel upgrades hit our joint card. Champagne add-ons, room service for 2, spa charges under her name at 11 p.m. Her explanation was always client hospitality or bundle fees. Meanwhile, her phone learned new habits. Face down at dinner, notifications silenced, message previews off. She started taking confidential calls on the balcony, whispering while our cat pawed at the sliding door. The intimacy changed in ways you only notice when you're counting the inches. She'd come home from these trips smelling like a lobby candle and expensive cologne that wasn't mine. In bed she was either wildfire or frost, nothing in between. One night she kissed me like she'd been starving for days, tasting of mint and something sweet, and then turned away breathless, saying she was too wired to sleep. I lay there staring at the ceiling fan, listening to our neighbor's dog bark, feeling a draft you can't patch with blankets. My mom, Linda, asked over Sunday dinner, "You too good?" Dad, Frank, grunted about corporate types and their nonsense hours. I shrugged like a sitcom husband. Maddie smiled too brightly and poured more wine. Somewhere between the refill and dessert, she called Jace a quick study, and caught herself biting her lip. A tiny bite, but it landed like thunder. Disclosure didn't come in a single thunderclap. It arrived like a summer storm, one warm drop, then another until the whole sky broke. First drop, an accidental Instagram story from Maddie's work account during an Austin trip. 10 seconds. Hotel bathroom. 2 toothbrushes in a single glass, steam fogging the mirror, and a man's laugh off camera. Low, pleased, close. She deleted it in minutes, but not before my friend Nolan DM'd it with a skull emoji and, "Bro?" Maddie later claimed it was a client couple's room. Clients who share her monogram toiletries apparently. Second drop, our Amex statement. Room service for 2 at 1:13 a.m., filet and creme brulee, and a champagne upgrade, per guest request. The note literally said per M. Carter. I told myself executives entertain. Executives also tip in 3 a.m. kisses, my brain whispered, and I hated that I even had a brain. Then came the lightning. A coworker of hers, Serena, grabbed coffee with me by chance. Halfway through a muffin she blurted, "Look, I like Maddie but people talk. Jace isn't temporary. He's constant." She winced like she'd stepped on my foot. "Sorry." I nodded like a bobblehead and stirred a coffee I couldn't taste. That night, Maddie returned from the airport glowing like the terminal lights had charged her. She hugged me long and hard, smelling like saffron and a men's cologne with cedar smoke in it. When we kissed, there was a sweetness that wasn't ours, hotel mints and something peachy. She pressed her forehead to mine and whispered, "Missed you." My heart tried to believe her, my stomach filed an appeal. I told myself to let it go. Instead, I quietly started a just-in-case folder. Screenshots of the Amex charges. Calendar overlaps. Boarding passes she left in the laundry. And the photo, the one that ended my denial. It came from Evan, my younger brother, the family gadget nerd. He texted me a still from a conference's Flickr album. Maddie in a plum dress, laughing with her head thrown back in a hotel bar. Jace at her side, tie loosened, his hand hovering at the small of her back the way a claim looks before it becomes a deed. 2 flutes, 1 lipstick print. Caption, "Closing night, woo." My pulse raced so hard I could hear it. I zoomed until pixels drank the light. There it was, her wedding band spun to the inside of her hand, like she tried to hide it from the camera. I remember sitting on the edge of our bed, the cats winding around my legs, the city noise outside like surf, and thinking, if this is innocent, why does it feel like drowning? The final crack came stupidly, mundanely in our kitchen. Her phone buzzed face up for once. A banner slipped through before the silence filter re-engaged. Jace, landed. Miss your face. My thumb twitched. I didn't touch it. I just stared at the word miss, like it was a slur. When she walked in humming, I smiled so gently it scared me. Inside, the sky finally opened. I didn't shout. I staged. I cued the Amex statements on my laptop, the conference photo on the TV, and the audio recorder app on my phone. When Maddie came out of the shower in my old college tee, wet hair, bare feet, smelling like the hotel candle she always buys for continuity, I asked if we could watch something together. She curled into the couch like a cat that thinks it owns the house. First slide, the Austin Hotel invoice. 2 breakfasts, 2 late-night entrees, champagne, per guest request. She blinked slow. Clients. Couples. You know how it is. Second, the conference photo. Her ring turned inward, Jace's hand hovering where only mine should hover. She laughed, high and papery. 1 second caught wrong. I was swatting a gnat. Third, the Instagram story still, 2 toothbrushes in 1 glass, steam like a halo. Her face changed. The color left, then rushed back. Ethan, that's not even my room. Her phone betrayed her before she could finish. A banner slid across the lock screen. Jace, home. Still smelling you. The room went silent except for our cats deciding now was the time to murder a toy mouse. Maddie folded in on herself, then down, actually down, off the couch onto her knees on the rug, hands clutching my shins. Tears came hot, fast, cinematic. Please, please, it's not what you think. He's just young. Was a dumb line. I messed up boundaries. She pressed her forehead to my knee like prayer. I'm so tired, Ethan. I'm burning at both ends. I didn't touch her. Did you share a room? She shook her head too hard. No. Okay, once, but there were 2 beds and the king upgrade was a mistake and I slept on top of the covers. I tapped play on a speakerphone recording I'd made that afternoon with the Austin front desk. The clerk's voice floated out. Yes, Mrs. Carter requested the king bed herself. Maddie's tears doubled. I was drunk. I panicked. It wasn't, we didn't, her voice broke. She crawled closer, fingers digging into my calves, leaving little crescent moons. I swear on my mother. Leave Darlene out of it, I said, and watched a new crack spider through her face. She gulped air and started emptying drawers I didn't know existed. It's not just him, okay? I have secrets. She said it like a bargain. The agency is bleeding a little. I opened a card in my name to float payroll. I covered my brother Mason's rehab. Don't be mad, he relapsed. I paid Mom's wellness retreat, because Rick lost another job. She sniffed hard. I never finished the MBA. It's a certificate. If clients find out, a sob tore loose. I'm begging you. Don't ruin me. I stared at the woman kneeling, weeping, clutching at every loose thread. The part of me that loves animals, slow movies, and people on the edge wanted to lift her up. The part of me that has a spine said, get the whole truth first. Did you sleep with him? I asked. She hesitated. That tiny lethal pause. Then, no. We kissed. We touched. I got carried away. Her eyes hunted my face. But I love you. I love our life. Please, Ethan. The doorbell rang. Both of us jumped. Through the peephole, Jace in a rain-dark jacket, holding her silk scarf. He texted as I watched, you left this. Want me to drop it? Maddie's tears took on a new flavor, panic. Don't open it. Please. I'll fix this. I'll quit. I'll fire him. I'll do anything. And then she said the thing that snapped something gentle in me, you're the safe one. You're home. He's just fun. In the hallway the bell chimed again. I looked at my wife, still on her knees, mascara painting grief down her cheeks, and realized I was the only adult in the room. I opened the door because someone had to. Jace stood there, rain jeweled on his lashes like he'd been photoshopped by the weather. He held up the silk scarf with a small, intimate smile. She left this in the car. Car. Not Uber, not ride share. Car. Behind me, Maddie scrambled to her feet, scrubbing mascara with her sleeve. Thanks, she squeaked, voice pitched for innocent. Long day. She tried to slip past me but I didn't move. Conference was good? I asked Jace, casual like a bartender. He glanced at Maddie, then at me. The pause told the truth. Productive, he said finally. Great. About that productivity, I said, stepping aside so he could see the TV screen frozen on the hotel invoice, the photo, the toothbrushes. The color drained from his face. A beat later he recovered, jaw setting into that practiced model line. "This feels inappropriate," he said. "Boss, I should go." "Boss," I repeated. "Not wife. Boss." Maddie grabbed the scarf like it was a lifeline. "Jace, leave," she begged. "Please." Her eyes were glossy, frantic. He looked at her the way a guy looks at a slot machine that's starting to jam, then back down the hall, palms up. "No disrespect, man," he told me, because the script demands it, and then he was gone. The door clicked. Silence fell, heavy and buzzing. Maddie turned to me and dissolved again. Tears, apologies, gravity pulling her back toward the floor. "He means nothing. I'll fire him tomorrow. Tonight. Right now." She grabbed her phone with shaking hands. A draft separation email bloomed on screen like a bruise. "Stop," I said. "We don't make HR moves while you're crying on our rug." I took the phone, set it on the mantel, and watched my hands not shake. She followed me through the apartment like a shadow. "Ethan, I'll do therapy. Couples, individual, everything. I'll tell my parents she hiccuped. "No, I can't tell them. Mom will turn it into a Broadway tragedy and Dad will say I get this from her side." She actually laughed through her sob. Which is not wrong. There it was, the family door creaking open. Darlene, her mother, who collects wellness retreats like souvenir spoons and posts spiritual quotes between MLM pitches. Rick, her stepdad, permanently between opportunities. Mason, her brother, all promise and rehab wristbands. I pictured the group chat lighting up like a pinball machine. I wanted to be better than my rage. I told her we'd sleep, separate rooms, and talk in the morning. She clutched my sleeve like a child at a crosswalk. "Please don't leave me alone. I'll spiral." It was such a naked, practiced line that I almost admired it. I gave her a blanket and left the door cracked half an inch, a compromise between mercy and a lock. In the guest room, I stared at the ceiling until dawn blued the blinds. My brain kept playing a stuttering reel. Her lemon vanilla shampoo, his cedar smoke cologne, their laughter braided in a bathroom mirror. Not explicit, just close. Palms, breath, the soft thud of bodies saying too much. I hated the intimacy of it more than the mechanics. At 5 a.m. I got up and started making lists. Not rage lists, action lists. Evidence synced to a cloud she couldn't touch. Joint cards. Freeze discretionary, leave essentials. Lawyer, consult. HR. Policy on supervisor-subordinate travel, fraternization, expense audits. Not because I wanted to ruin her, I told myself, but because I refused to be erased in my own life. At 7:12 my phone buzzed. "Mom, you up?" "Weird dream. Call me." I typed and deleted 3 replies, then wrote, "Later. Love you." When I looked up, Maddie was standing in the doorway like a ghost, eyes swollen, whispering, "Don't tell them." "Not yet. Please." I poured coffee and said the first calm sentence in 12 hours, "Then tell me all of it. Every skeleton. Now." She took the mug with both hands like it might run away and sat at the edge of the chair, small, wrecked, mascara ghosting her cheeks. "Okay," Maddie said, voice paper cut thin. "You want everything? Here." It tumbled out. I never finished the MBA, it's a 6-month certificate. I rounded up because clients care about letters. The agency looks bigger than it is. 2 departments, our freelancers on burner emails. Cash flow's a mess, so I floated payroll on a personal card. I said the Austin spa was client retention, because saying panic attack doesn't get reimbursed. She sniffed, stared into the mug. I paid Mason's rehab, again. Mom's retreat is actually a desert boot camp where they upsell sage bundles for $400. Rick lost a sure thing flipping RVs. I covered their mortgage for 2 months. She waited for me to explode. I didn't. I just wrote debt spiral on my pad and underlined it. "And Jace?" I asked. She folded, belly to thighs, like she'd been hit. He made me feel electric. Young. Like I wasn't always the fix-it person. Her voice shrank. "We started with late flights and bad wine. Kissing in elevators. That stupid thrill of nearly getting caught." She looked up fast. "We didn't," a pause. "The same lethal beat from last night. We didn't go all the way." She rushed on. Hands, mouths close half on. "He said I smell like oranges. Said my laugh makes people stare." Her mouth trembled. "When he texts 'miss your face,' he means the way I look when I win, not." She stopped, flushed, rebroke. I'm sorry. It wasn't porn, it was worse, domestic intimacy repurposed. The small, private compliments I used to give her now living in someone else's phone. She slipped off the chair to her knees again, crawling closer on the rug like contrition had a choreography. Ethan, I will fire him today. I will call Serena and confess. I'll tell my parents. No, don't make me tell them. Mom will make it a TikTok sermon, please. Her hands found my ankles. I will sign whatever. Post-nup. Therapy every night. I'll sleep in the guest room for a year. I'll eat humble pie until I get sick. Just don't leave. You're the part that makes me a person. My chest hurt in a very specific surgical way. I wanted to be the man who rescues. I also wanted to be the man who respects himself. I told her I needed proof for me, not for a judge. Passwords to work email, the expense platform, the travel portal. She hesitated, 1 heartbeat, 2, then typed them out on a sticky note with shaky hands. I copied files to a locked drive. Expense reports. Seat assignments with companion checkmarks. A hotel confirmation that literally read, 1 Kane/2 guests/Carter. I saved everything, and with every click a little more of the marriage's scaffolding clanged to the floor. At 9:03 my phone lit up. Mom, calling. Maddie grabbed my sleeve. Please. Not yet. I answered anyway. Hey Mom. She didn't say hello. Honey, your aunt just texted me a photo from the conference flicker. Are you okay? On the couch, Maddie's face collapsed like a sandcastle at high tide. I put Mom on speaker. Linda doesn't do small talk when she smells smoke. Ethan, your aunt sent me a photo. Maddie with that assistant. Are we dealing with rumors or reality? In the silence, I heard Dad in the background mutter, corporate clowns. Maddie covered her mouth and started sobbing so hard she hiccuped. Mrs. Hale, it's not, I made mistakes, but I love your son. She slid off the couch again like gravity had a personal vendetta, on her knees, reaching for the phone like she could touch forgiveness through a screen. Get up, Madison, Mom said, voice suddenly steel. You're not a child and crying isn't a mop. Mom's never been cruel, but she's allergic to pageantry. I want to come over, she added. 10 minutes later my parents were at our door with a grocery bag of comfort food like you can fix adultery with chicken soup. Dad hugged me so hard my ribs creaked, then stood with his hands on his hips glaring at the rug like it owed him money. Maddie launched into the script. It was boundaries, blurred lines. I was overwhelmed. I'm getting help. She blamed burnout, imposter syndrome, capitalism, moon phases, everything but the 2 toothbrushes and the cedar cologne that still haunted our sheets. She promised therapy. She promised to fire Jace. She promised to crawl on glass. Meanwhile, my mom walked the perimeter of our living room like an insurance adjuster, taking in the frozen hotel invoice on the TV and the way Maddie flinched at every question. Dad's verdict was simple. You took vows. Then you took liberties. We were halfway through pretending to eat when the other half of the circus arrived. Darlene blue and smelling like eucalyptus and sales targets, Rick trailing with a defeated duffel bag energy, and Mason, twitchy, too thin, bright-eyed in the wrong way. Darlene took one look at Maddie's smeared mascara and turned to theatrics. Oh my baby. Men always twist narratives when women succeed. To me, Ethan, don't nuke her career because you're wounded. Darlene, Mom said, read the room. Rick tried for diplomacy and landed on cliché. We've all made mistakes. Mason hugged Maddie, then whispered, loudly, do they know about the LA thing? Every head pivoted. Maddie paled. What LA thing? I asked. Her mouth opened and closed. It was before we married, she whispered. A client. I signed an NDA. It was just flirting that got complicated. Her eyes flooded again. It was my low point, okay? I swore never again. My stomach sank in installments. How many nevers stacked on secrets before a promise meant nothing? Dad looked like he'd swallowed a battery. Darlene soothed the air with her hands. Ancient history. We're focusing on healing. She gripped Maddie's shoulders, then hissed at me, if you love her, you'll keep this private. As if on cue, my phone buzzed, HR from Maddie's agency. Mr. Hale, we've received a confidential concern regarding possible policy violations involving travel and reporting lines. We may request your cooperation. 10 seconds later another buzz, unknown number, this is Jace. I'm sorry you saw things out of context. For clarity, I'm filing a formal report. Your wife has influence. The audacity stunned me. He was flipping the board. Maddie collapsed fully onto the rug, palms up, sobbing. He's lying to save himself. I'll fix it. I'll fix everything. She crawled toward my parents. Please don't hate me. I know I'm broken. Mom's eyes softened despite herself. Dad didn't move. Darlene snapped, Mason, go make tea. He shuffled to the kitchen and seconds later, a cabinet slammed and he yelped, because our emergency cash tin had been moved. I'd moved it that morning. Enough, I said, suddenly calm. This isn't a tribunal. It's my life. I looked at Maddie. I will try it once. 1 month of full transparency. Counseling, no travel, no contact with him, financial honesty. 1 toe out of line, we're done. I heard my own voice and wondered if I was brave or stupid. Maddie crawled the last inches and clutched my hand, crying thank yous, promises, vows 2.0. Behind her, Darlene wiped a performative tear and gave me a tight, calculating smile. My mom just nodded once, a blessing wrapped around a warning. In the hallway, someone's phone dinged. A text preview lit on Maddie's screen she'd left by the lamp. Jace, HR wants details. Delete the Austin pics. My scalp prickled. I squeezed her hand anyway, hating how love can make a fool of a man who knows better. Transparency Month started with a shared calendar and ended with a microscope. I turned into an archivist of my own marriage. Screenshots in dated folders, receipts in plastic sleeves, a spreadsheet called Sanity. Maddie agreed to everything. No travel, no contact, therapy twice a week. She cried at each boundary like it was barbed wire, then kissed my knuckles and whispered, "Thank you for saving me." It landed like a brick. Day 4, a client emergency, bloomed on her calendar in gray, then vanished. I checked the audit log. She created and deleted it within a minute. When I asked, she said, "Habit fingers." Day 6, a $218 charge at a boutique hotel posted under consultation room rental. I called the desk and asked about the conference suites. The clerk chirped, "We only offer guest rooms." My stomach hollowed. I went quiet, really quiet. She mistook it for mercy and got sloppy. While she showered, her laptop pinged with a calendar invite from an address I didn't recognize. m.carter.consults@pm.me. Burner email. The subject line, Austin, loose ends // delete after. My hands shook as I photographed everything, then forwarded copies to a cloud folder and my lawyer. Subject, documentation, do not open unless asked. HR moved faster than I expected. 2 weeks in, an email hit. Maddie was placed on administrative leave pending investigation into travel policy violations and supervisory boundaries. Darlene called instantly, voice sharp enough to slice citrus. "They're making an example of a successful woman. Ethan, fix this." My mom texted, "You don't need to fix anyone except you." Dad sent a thumbs up emoji by accident and then wrote, "Mint, stand firm." That night, I came home to Maddie kneeling on the kitchen floor, arms wrapped around my legs, sobbing into my jeans. "He filed a report to save himself," she hiccuped. "I'll lose everything. Please write a letter. Say it was innocent. Say we shared rooms to save budget. You know how I hate waste." She looked up, eyes red-rimmed, makeup a bruise. "I'll sign a postnup. I'll put the house in your name." "Oh. You already put us in debt," I said, softer than I felt. "What else is left to sign?" She crawled after me as I moved, palms squeaking on tile. "I didn't sleep with him," she insisted, the old refrain. "I swear on." "Your mother?" I asked. "You've used that one." That night, the universe handed me the thing I hadn't asked for, proof with a pulse. Maddie slipped to the balcony for a therapy call. I hit record on my phone before the slider clicked. Through the glass, her voice drifted in, low, raw. "No, you don't text me right now," she hissed. HR is sniffing. Ethan's playing saint. Of course he won't leave, he needs the stability. He's safe. A beat. A laugh I didn't recognize. "Yes, I miss you. I can smell you on my scarf. But we have to torch the trail." I replayed it twice, each time feeling something inside me cauterize. Not rage. Not even grief. Resolve. One more surprise arrived before midnight. A DM from Serena, the coworker. Off the record, Jace tried to throw her under the bus. People are picking sides. Also, check your wife's expense tags for March. Wellness is a code for date nights. She added a photo of a handwritten note Maddie had left on her desk months ago. "Change Austin dinner to client ret. We'll clean it later." The dash was my favorite part. Half truth, half ink. I sat at the table, headphones on, listening to my marriage in mono. The balcony recording, the clerk confirming a king bed, the soft thud of my own breath. In the bedroom, Maddie cried herself to sleep with the door open like an invitation to pity. I opened a new folder and named it what it was, exit. I didn't plan a spectacle. I planned clarity. But clarity looks a lot like theater when both families are in one room. Darlene insisted on a healing dinner. I brought potato salad and a thumb drive. Mom and Dad arrived with pound cake and quiet fury. Rick hovered by the thermostat like temperature could fix tension. Mason paced, sniffing, asking if anyone had seen my backpack, which everyone knows means where's the cash. Maddie greeted me at the door already crying, already on the verge of the rug. "Thank you for coming," she whispered, mascara loaded like a storm cloud. She reached for my hand. I let her hold air. We ate in a hum made of clinking forks and swallowed judgments. Darlene toasted family resilience, and winked at me like we were co-conspirators. When the plates cleared, I stood, plugged the thumb drive into the TV and said, "We're going to watch a few minutes of truth." First slide, the Austin invoice, 1KNG/2 guests/PM, Carter. Second, the conference bar photo, his hand claiming her spine, her ring turned inward. Third, the balcony recording, Maddie's voice low, "Of course he won't leave, he needs the stability. He's safe. I miss you," torched the trail. The room didn't breathe. Darlene's face performed 5 emotions and landed on Pierre's smile. Rick blinked like a slow modem. Mason whispered, "Awk." Maddie collapsed to her knees so fast the chair scraped. "Please," she sobbed, crawling toward my shoes. "It was a fantasy. I messed up. Don't end us. I will do anything, therapy, church, quit, move, sell." She clutched my ankles, forehead on my laces. "I am begging you." Mom spoke first, voice a clean blade. "Madison, get up." Dad followed, gravel low, "Son, say your piece." I mirrored my phone to the TV. Email threads. Expense tags. The handwritten note to Serena, "Change Austin dinner to client ret, we'll clean it later." Then HR's notice placing her on leave. Finally, a folder titled Exit. I opened it like a door. "Here's what happens now," I said, calm enough to scare myself. "The joint cards are frozen. My name is off your business credit. I've moved my half of savings per our prenup. Tomorrow my lawyer files for divorce citing financial misconduct and infidelity. I'll seek reimbursement for marital funds used on the affair. I'll cooperate fully with HR. You will not contact me outside counsel or therapy. There is no Jace conversation because there is no Jace and there is no us." Maddie wailed, a torn sound, all theater, all true. She crawled, palms slipping on hardwood, and wrapped herself around my shins. "I'll die," she choked. "You're the good thing. He's nothing. I was empty. I'm sick. I'm sorry. Please, Ethan." Darlene lunged into frame. "You can't torture life over a crush," she snapped, then softer, sales syruped. "We can spin this. A sabbatical. A rebrand. Mistakes are content now." "Ma," Mason said, voice dipping, "can we talk about my backpack?" Darlene hissed his name between teeth. Rick finally found words. "Let's be men about this," he told me like I'd forgotten how. My mom stood, eyes bright but steady. "Being a man is ending what breaks you," she said. Dad nodded once, a gavel. Maddie's hands slipped from my legs as I stepped back. She reached for air again, then folded onto her heels, small, wrecked, whispering, "I didn't mean to be this person." Maybe she didn't, but she was. The next week was a marathon of paper cuts. My lawyer, Miss Patel, took one look at the folder labeled Exit and said, "You've done my paralegal's job." We filed. Divorce citing dissipation of marital assets and documented infidelity. HR looped me in for dates and receipts. I stuck to facts, no adjectives. Turns out revenge looks very boring on paper. Timestamps, policy numbers, signatures. Maddie called, texted, emailed from burner accounts with names like Hopeful Bird and Fresh Start. When that failed, she showed up at 2 a.m. in the rain, kneeling on the welcome mat, knocking with the soft panic of someone who knows the locks changed on more than just the door. I watched through the peephole as she cried, whispered, "Please, Ethan, I can't breathe without you," and then slid down the frame like a marionette with cut strings. I hated her. I loved her. I didn't open. Mediation day was theater with coffee. She wore a navy sheath and the posture of an apology TED Talk. "The waterworks started before we Saturday. I'm ashamed," she told the mediator between sobs. I was empty and looking in the wrong places. "Ethan is good. I'm broken." She dropped to her knees mid-session, actually knelt on the conference carpet, begging to rebuild the empire. The mediator passed tissues like sandbags. Miss Patel slid across a spreadsheet of charges. Hotels, dinners, wellness codes that read like date nights in disguise. Maddie's cry turned small, wet, childlike. "I can pay it back," she whispered. "I'll sell my car." Rick texted from the lobby, "How's it going? We need help with Mason's sober house deposit." I turned my phone face down. HR moved faster than any plot twist. Maddie was terminated for cause, the phrase that slams doors. Jace posted a Notes app apology about blurred boundaries, and then scrubbed his socials. Serena sent me the office post-mortem in 3 texts. He tried to make her the villain, receipts said otherwise. Her board voted to dissolve. People are mad at him and afraid of her. Darlene went live on Facebook with a ring light and a speech about society punishing ambitious women, then DM'd me a payment plan for the mortgage I never agreed to cover. Nights were the worst. Insomnia turned the ceiling into a screen where my brain replayed the almost more than the acts. Her palm in his, the private smile she used to save for me. I tried to forgive like a good man, made a list of virtues, folded it into my pocket, read it on the train. Then I'd hit play on the balcony recording and feel the list turn to ash. Some things you don't walk back from, you learn to walk around. I kept expecting a last twist, pregnancy, a secret bank account, Jace on the doorstep. Instead it was smaller, sadder. A padded envelope arrived addressed in Maddie's handwriting. Inside, my old guitar picks, a photo strip from Coney Island and a note. You were the safe place. I confused safety with boredom. I'm sorry. I cried for the first time, not loud, just steady, because the apology came in the only language we used to share. Ordinary things that meant everything. The decree came through on a gray Tuesday. I kept the condo, paid out nothing beyond what the prenup demanded, and got reimbursed for the Amex charges tagged wellness. Miss Patel sent a thumbs-up emoji. Mom baked a lasagna the size of Ohio. Dad showed up with a toolbox and fixed a cabinet hinge that hadn't needed fixing. Darlene texted, "You ruined her," and then asked if I'd co-sign Mason's car. I set new rules: silence, boundaries, distance. That night, I pulled my guitar from the back of the closet, tuned the strings and played until my fingers stung. It sounded awful and honest. For the first time in months, the apartment felt like a home occupied by one whole person, not the outline of 2. I thought the decree would feel like a door slam. It was more like a window cracking open in a quiet room. The first night officially single, I made bad omelets and worse coffee, then took my guitar to a tiny open mic 2 blocks over. My hands shook so hard I almost dropped the pick. I played anyway. 3 chords, a voice that sounded like someone learning how to use it, and a room full of strangers who clapped like they'd seen a man come up for air. On the walk home, the city felt new, same sidewalks, different gravity. I started living like my life was mine. Ran in the mornings, lifted with Nolan at a grimy gym, learned bouldering because a therapist said controlled falls teach trust, and booked a solo trip to Moab. Red Rock does something to your brain. One sunset, dust in my teeth, legs aching, I realized I hadn't pictured Maddie's balcony speech in days. Revenge had already happened, on paper, on screens, in rooms with HR and lawyers. But the real revenge, the durable kind, was me not orbiting her anymore. Being good without asking to be recognized as good. The families adjusted in weird, human ways. Mom started texting meal photos like I might starve if she skipped a day. Dad kept accidentally leaving drill bits so he'd have a reason to stop by. Darlene cycled through denial, anger, rebrand. Her last message was a selfie at a self-healing summit, with the caption rising. Mason found a job at a car wash and, shock of shocks, kept it. Rick tried to sell me an RV share. I told him I was investing in chalk and climbing shoes. I won't pretend there weren't ghost nights. I'd roll over and reach for a person who wasn't there and then remember why that was good. When it hurt, I let it. When it passed, I didn't chase it back. On a random Thursday, Serena sent me a photo, the office wall where Maddie's Boss Energy poster used to hang, now blank. Under it, someone had taped a post-it, "Do the boring thing, tell the truth." I laughed out loud on the train and a kid offered me a Sour Patch. I took one. Lemon. Tasted like starting over. If you're reading this because you're where I was, if your gut is screaming and your brain is gaslighting it, here's the short version from a guy who bled for the long one. Trust the boring evidence. Screenshots beat speeches. Don't fight in the dark. Turn on the lights, lawyer, HR, boundaries. Revenge that sticks is administrative, not dramatic. Try once if you must, but write your exit while you try. Healing looks like hobbies, sweat, sleep, and people who want nothing from you. You aren't safe as an insult. You're safe as a harbor. That's rare. Be proud of it. I'm Ethan. I was married to a woman who confused electricity with love and safety with boredom. She cried, begged, lied, and I nearly let the performance keep me. I didn't. I walked out with my name, my condo, my guitar, and a spine I forgot I owned. Last night I played the open mic again. Same 3 chords. The difference was the voice. It sounded like mine. I have many other stories. Go to my channel, subscribe so you don't lose us. Give me a thumbs up.